If you're wanting to write a song right now and quickly and efficiently write the song without running into a bunch of really off-sounding notes and wrong chords and really being frustrated, but you also don't want to take the dive and learn music theory quite yet, then this is the video for you, especially if you're trying to write a song in the key of C major. We're going to talk about everything that you need to know to write a song in the key of C major right now. All right, so the first thing that we need to start with is that every single major key has 7 total notes, and C major is no different. So what notes do we have to work with in C major? We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So those are your 7 notes, and each of them gets a number. And you probably could guess it. It actually starts with the number 1, and the number 1 in C major is going to be C. Now these numbers are written with Roman numerals rather than regular numbers, and each of them are going to correspond with a type of chord, which we'll get to in a second. But for now, let's just make sure we get the numbers thing down. So because of C major, we always start with the name of the key, which is going to be C in this case. That's always going to be our 1. So C would be our 1, and then D would be our 2, E would be our 3, F would be our 4, etc. I think you can figure out the rest. So the next thing to cover is what foundational chords do we have in the context of C major. We've covered what notes we have, so if you're a pianist, you know all the different notes you have. Also, when you're writing the melody, you know that you have those notes that we covered already to use in your melody. But oftentimes, especially as guitarists, we don't really think as much in individual notes, especially when we are playing by chords. So in that case, I gotta cover you as well. And the main thing to know here is that every single major key has the same set of chords as far as major or minor. Give me a second, we'll get there. So in every single major key, your 1 chord, your 4 chord, and your 5 chord are all going to be major. We already covered the number thing, right? So in C major, a 1 would be what? C, right? So our C major chord is going to be our 1 chord in C major. And then all we have to do is count up to 4 and then 5 to figure out what our other major chords are. So in the context of C major, C is our 1, D is our 2, E is our 3, F is our 4. So we have an F major chord in C major. And then G is our 5, which is our last major chord, our 5 chord, which is going to be a G major because we just covered that a 5 chord, and every single major key is going to be a major chord. So then we have 3 minor chords in every single major key, and those are always going to be the 2, 3, and 6. So in the context of C major, that leaves us with a D minor chord because C, D is our 2, E would be our 3, so we have an E minor chord, and then A would be our 6, which leaves us with that A minor chord. And then last and absolutely least is the 1 diminished chord that we have in every major key, which is the 7 chord. So we have a B diminished chord. Hint, just don't use this. All right, so now we've established that in the context of C major, the notes you have to work with, which is going to be really important for melody, are C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And then the chords we have to work with, our 3 major chords, are C major, F major, and G major. And then we have A minor as well as D minor and E minor. And also there's a 7 chord, which is diminished, which we don't care about because they are largely worthless. So let's talk about how this applies to your songwriting. With your melodies, you're going to want to write melodies probably exclusively with the notes that we listed, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Those are the notes you use in your melody. Also, every single chord should probably be made up of those notes. And from there as well, especially if you're a guitarist, the main chords you want to use in the context of any major key is generally going to be your major 1, major 4, and major 5 chord. And usually the most common minor chord to use is that minor 6. I find that usually the minor 2 is then the next most common, and the minor 3 tends to be the rarest of the minor chords, and nobody really uses the diminished chord, but honestly, you should try a minor 3 chord. It might be my favorite of those basic chords. I really love the transition from a minor 3 to a major 4 chord, so be sure to try that out. So overall, when it comes to chords in your songwriting in the key of C major, some of the main chords you want to use is the C major chord, the F major chord, and the G major chord. And then if you're going to use 1 minor chord, most often that is going to be your A minor, but you also can use the D minor and the E minor as well. So those are the chords you have, and then we already covered what you have for melody, and that's really all you need to know to go crush it at writing a song in the key of C major. And if what I just said made you think, that was music theory? Maybe music theory isn't just academic knowledge. Maybe it's actually useful because, for example, you may have caught that in that video, I actually slipped in that like all major keys have these same things, which means that once you know one major key and all the chords in it and all the notes in it, you can kind of figure out all of them, which is exactly what music theory can get you. So if you're interested in learning the 4 pillars of music theory that I think every single songwriter needs to know, which, by the way, I'm not going to hide what those 4 are. They're intervals, which is sort of at the foundation of most music theory. And then you have keys, which is what we just talked about, chords, which we also just talked about, and also chord progressions, which we also touched on a little bit, but I go a little deeper in this free guide with the chord progressions part and also go deeper with the other parts as well. So if you want to level up your knowledge and not just know how to write a song in the key of C major, but want to be able to have more broad knowledge so that you can apply what you just learned in a way that you can now go write a song in G major and A minor and all those other things as well, be sure to pick up this guide totally free. Link down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Highly encourage you to grab that guide, learn more music theory. But if not, you know what? Have fun writing a song in the key of C major. And hopefully, I'll talk to you in the next one.